Hi everyone, my name is Chris. My channel is called The Body Wish, your gateway to holistic remedies, wellness tips, and improved mindset. Welcome to my series, Wellementary, where I connect with experts in fitness, nutrition, along with my recommendations to help you live a healthy and abundant life. What's up, YouTube? My name is Chris. My channel is called The Body Wish. It's an honor to be here. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I work in the health and wellness industry, and I help people to achieve and maintain optimal well-being. And I do this in part through education. The educational aspect comes into play when I recommend certain foods to help them on their wellness journey. And the other aspect that I help people out with is improving mindset. Really, everything begins with that. That's kind of like the ground floor. Having that higher level of self-confidence married up with good nutrition is going to set you up for success. These two facets make up our well-being. They are inseparable. So I'm going to be talking to you about a problem that affects more than half the population, and that is this ongoing struggle with excessive weight gain, all the difficulties that go with it, including food noise, the inability to keep the weight off long term. I know a lot of people are going up and down, and so I'm going to be sharing some science with you. I'm also going to be doing a comparison, actual clinical studies that compared a holistic nutritional system with that of the Mediterranean diet. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mediterranean, I don't know why you wouldn't be. It's also known as the heart healthy diet. It's what a lot of doctors in the U.S. recommend to patients who are looking to get their weight under control. So that's going to be coming up in a couple of minutes. I will show you some of the clinical research in this particular study. There was actually 7 studies done on this. This holistic nutritional system just left the Mediterranean in the dust. So more on that in a minute. Thought I would start out by saying tonight's presentation is intended for educational purposes. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disorder. That is the role of your healthcare practitioner. So let's take a shallow dive into what I guess you would call it the foundation, where everything begins towards chronic eating, and that is, of course, food cravings. Now, there are different schools of thought. What's up, Alex? Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well. There are some different schools of thought on what drives food cravings, depending on, hey, Sen, we're talking about excessive weight gain, the struggles that people are having with excessive weight gain, and why people are having so much trouble with it. I'll be talking about food cravings. In fact, I was just starting that. I'll also talk about calorie restriction, and I'm going to show you, once we get past that, I'm going to show you a clinical study, one of 7, that a holistic nutritional system was compared against the Mediterranean diet. So food cravings, there's lots of schools of thought about this. You have an eating disorder. Well, this is going to be a good program for you to check out. What's up, Becky? So food cravings, different schools of thought that drive this. Some people come at it more from the perspective of psychology. They try and understand the relationship that the person has with food. I think there's a lot of validity to that. I tend to come at it more from the nutritional aspect, because when you think about it, food cravings are what the body uses to tell us we, guess what, need food. We need to eat. We need to nourish the body. But see, that's where the problem comes into play, because we have gotten so far off course from nourishing our bodies. And when you don't nourish the body, those cravings become persistent, they become obsessive, and it's what drives people to binge eat. So learning how to satiate those cravings with foods that are high in fiber, high in protein, that's going to help to quiet that food noise down. So if you're somebody who's been struggling with this, and you've gotten to a point where you've become overweight, and you recognize the fact that you're at high risk for a lot of disorders, from cancer to type 2 diabetes, we've all heard the list and the downsides of this. Okay, most people, if not all, are reaching for some method of calorie restriction, calorie deficit, calorie counting, all the above. We've heard these terms over and over again. However, ready for this? Your body does not know what a calorie is. Your body doesn't count calories. I don't care if you're doing a diet. I don't care if you're doing these pharmaceutical drugs that suppress the appetite. It's all code word for calorie deficit. Let me show you a quick study here because I do like to share science with people. This is something I encourage people to look up on their own. You don't have to take my word for it. This was put out by Harvard Medical School. It's called Stop Counting Calories. It was conducted by one of the top obesity experts in the country. And what she said, and like many other experts are saying, is we need to rethink our whole approach to not just losing weight in the short term, but keeping it off for the long haul. And it's the latter part that's tripping so many people up. All right, so what exactly is counting calories? We've heard this over and over again. So what people are doing when they're counting calories is they're actually dialing back the amount of nutrition they're consuming, right? So you might be thinking like, well, what is this guy talking about? If I eat too much, I need to cut back on eating, don't I? It's not that cut and dry. What you're actually doing when you're scaling back on the amount of food you're eating is you're cutting back on the amount of fuel that your body's getting. Now, this is what happens when you go into calorie deficit. By cutting back on the amount of fuel you're giving, your body starts looking for other sources of energy. And the two places it turns to is fat, but it also burns muscle. This is the part a lot of people don't realize. When you start to burn muscle, it slows down your metabolism. Well, guess what happens when your metabolism runs slower? It's harder and harder to burn fat. In fact, it gets to a point where it becomes impossible for a lot of people. That's why most people who get into calorie deficit, whether you're doing a diet, and there's over 100 of them now, or you're doing these pharmaceutical drugs like Ozempic, you have success in the beginning. You will burn weight in the beginning. All right. You can burn weight on a Coca-Cola diet. But once your metabolism slows down, it's like you hit a brick wall. And then people get down on themselves. They think there's something wrong with them. They think, I don't have enough willpower. Guess what? This is not about willpower. This is the downside of calorie deficit. It's the outcome. Once the metabolism slows down, everything's working against you. All right, so if counting calories isn't all it's cracked up to be, what other options do we have? Well, I want to introduce a holistic nutritional system, one that has undergone 7 human clinical trials, means it's been tested on people, not on monkeys, not on birds, not on Martians. It's been tested on people. And it was tested against the #1 whole foods diet in the US, which is, drumroll, the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean has been voted the #1 diet by US News and World Report 7 years in a row. Is it a bad diet? Not by any stretch. It's a whole foods diet. But because it does rely on calorie deficit, everybody who was on the Mediterranean diet in this study ended up putting the weight back on after a year. All right. So one other thing I want to say about calorie restriction before I forget, there's no medical proof it works. This is something we've just kind of taken on faith and on osmosis, but there's not one clinical study out there that says counting calories keeps the weight off long term. So if you learn anything from this presentation tonight, I want you guys to start questioning things. I want you to look up that study I put up a minute ago, the Harvard Medical School. I want you to look up, there's no, and confirm for yourself, there's no medical proof, there's no clinical studies that say counting calories works long term. And if it did, why are the number of people in the U.S. In terms of becoming overweight going up and not coming down? All right, so we're starting to connect the dots. We're starting to say, wait a minute, this doesn't work. All right, let me get back to this system I want to show you guys. I got to move my camera out of the way a little bit. I'm going to show you some of the products that come with this. It's called a 30-day reset. And then I'm going to show you some of the clinical science when this was tested against the Mediterranean. All right, let me just switch cameras. So this is called the 30-day reset, and there's no calorie counting in this. What this does is it addresses 3 problems that contribute to excessive weight gain: nutritional deficiency, toxicity, and stress. When this system was tested, let me show you. I got to get over to my slides. There they are. Let me show you some of the studies. In the first of 7 studies, when this was tested against the Mediterranean diet, in the first 8 weeks, 56% of those who are on this 30-day reset lost more weight compared to the heart healthy, the Mediterranean, the same thing. Twice as much visceral fat loss, 41% drop in cravings. See, the cravings are what are driving people to eat compulsively. And this was satisfying those cravings, was quieting them down. 25% improvement in gut health, and one of my favorite stats, 6 to 9% more lean muscle. So this ain't no diet. If this was a diet, people would be losing muscle and it would slow down their metabolism. All right, let me show you how simple this system is to take now. I got a few more slides. So there's 3 core products that this system comes with. The first are these nutritionally dense superfoods. These are easy to prepare. They're just like making up a smoothie. They got all 90 key nutrients. They've got digestive enzymes to improve gut health. They're low glycemic. So if somebody happens to be pre or diabetic, this is not going to spike your sugar level. They have been clinically proven to add more muscle. That figure I showed you a minute ago, the 6 to 9% more lean muscle, thank you. That's where the superfoods are contributing to that. So for the first 6 days of each week, let's say Monday through Saturday, we load up on superfoods. We get the nutrients that, unfortunately, the store-bought foods are no longer abundant in. So then on the 7th day, we do a day of cellular detox. And on that day, we're going to do intermittent fasting. Let me get my camera out of the way. When we do the cellular detox, we're getting rid of a lot of dangerous chemicals, things like forever chemicals, things like dioxins, PCBs, things like pesticides and herbicides. The environment has gotten more contaminated over the decades. There's a lot more junk in the air that's getting into our bodies, causing things like brain fog, chronic fatigue, poor sleep habits, increased rates of depression. So you see where I'm going with all of this? None of this is a diet. This is not about cutting back on nutrition. This is about optimizing the body's natural ability to run more stronger, better immune system, burn fat more efficiently. Forget diets. Diets are antiquated science. All right, last product I want to show you. This is the 3rd of 3 core products. This comes in the form of adaptogens. Adaptogens help us to recover from stress. And this is supernatural. This is something you would take every single day. So you take the superfoods for the first 6 days, you intermittent fast on the 7th day, and you're doing these wonderful adaptogens to manage your stress. And it's all natural. There's no junk chemicals in anything. This has been tested now 7 times and published in some of the top medical journals. This is not something you're going to find in the vitamin shop. You're not going to find it in your local, what the heck is the name of that supplement store? Drawing a blank right now. You're not going to find this in Whole Foods. It's a nutritionally dense system. It nourishes the body, it lowers stress, and it gets rid of those awful toxins. So if you or somebody that you know has been struggling with excessive weight gain, has been struggling with fatigue all the time, I had that for 25 years. I was dealing with that. This is a system that is worth taking a look at. And if you go to my home channel, The Body Wish here on YouTube, I have a link. It's just informational. You can take a look at it. In fact, I'll show you. Let me switch cameras one more time. You guys can go check this out on your own if you'd like. It's called thebodywish.wordpress.com. Go up to the products menu, click on nutritional system. It's got pretty much everything I just shared now and then some. There's a short 3-minute video that gives you the whole lowdown on how to do the system. It's a little bit of the science. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand it. I am not a scientist. It made perfectly good sense to me. So I encourage you to take a look at it. Sometimes in life, we don't know what we don't know unless we take that extra step and do some investigation on our own. So if there's any way I can help you or maybe somebody you know, reach out to me. There's a contact page on that website. And if you want to set up a Zoom call, there's a Calendly link. You know, what have you got to lose? I got on this system 4 years ago, not because I was overweight or dealing with any of those headaches. I was dealing with constant exhaustion. In fact, I had it for over 25 years. And in the last 5 years of that 25-year period, I had to stop all exercising. I ended up selling my rowing machine. I had a 35-pound kettlebell, had to sell all that. Rolled up my yoga mat, couldn't do that anymore. And I got tested for everything under the sun, from thyroid to Lyme disease to Epstein-Barr. I tried working with Western medicine. I tried a naturopath. I worked with a dietitian and nutritionist. I lived with a chef for 10 years. I'm not a stranger to eating healthy food. I know how to cook. None of that made a difference, not a dent in it. Zero, zip, nada. One of my friends told me about this system. He had a lot of good things to say about the company. the clinical studies, the clean ingredients. I thought, what the hell? I'll try it out. Take it for a test spin. And a week into it, after I did the superfoods for 6 days and I did the intermittent fasting, lo and behold, I had a really significant breakthrough. I mean, I had to pinch myself. 5 years of brain fog cleared up. I felt rested. I got good sleep like I hadn't had in forever. And everything improved. That's what I learned from this. Good, nutritionally dense products make the difference. I wish I could just say, go to the supermarket and get A, B, C, and D, and Bob's your uncle, you'll be good in the hood. Unfortunately, the foods don't have the nutrients that they used to have, say, 70 years ago. A lot of it is because of over-farming. A lot of it is because of all the junk they put in the food, dangerous chemicals, pesticides. Why the fuck are we eating foods with pesticides in it? All of this is weakening our immune system. It's making it harder and harder for the body to run. That's why allergies, diseases, illnesses, people overweight, all of this is skyrocketing. It's not a coincidence. These things don't just drop out of the sky and land on us. Instead, the conditions in the body are being created for this to manifest. And I'm so glad I discovered this system and I was willing to take it for a test run because everything improved. I turned 61 before Christmas. I've been exercising again for the last couple of years. I'm back to running, back to lifting weights, back to doing yoga. This is what good nutrition can do. Now, I get it. You don't know this. You don't know me from a hole in the wall and some bald guy on social media. But I'm not here to, impress you with the sound of my voice. This stuff works. And you don't even have to take my word for it because they have clinical studies done at some of the top universities. When you get products tested out of university, there is no chance for the company to influence the tests because there's reputations at stake. No university like University of Chicago, Harvard, University of Pittsburgh, Arizona State, none of these schools are going to compile biased data in favor of a company. They'd ruin their reputation. And in that same spirit of transparency, no medical journal is going to publish biased data. Again, reputations are at stake here. Nobody's going to put their reputation on the line to, promote some kind of Mickey Mouse system here. So my whole point of this is all these studies are genuine. And it was tested against the Mediterranean diet, and there was no comparison. Everything improved. So on that note, I got to wrap it up because I haven't eaten dinner yet. Speaking of food, it's been an honor to be here with all of you. I'm very grateful you joined me. Subscribe to my channel if you want to get more wellness tips, holistic remedies, and things to improve your mindset. If you want more information, again, let me put the site back up one more time. Thebodywish.com. Here, you know what? I'm going to put it in the chat. I should have. .com. All right, there it is. You guys feel free to take a look at it. And on that note, thank you so much for joining. I'll be doing this more regularly. I'll always schedule it in advance. So if you're around, check it out. If I can help you out, let me know. On that note, I'll drop off. Cheers for now. Have a great night.